Why can rivers in Iceland change their direction? Iceland is a country known for its unusual natural phenomena, and rivers here can unexpectedly change their direction. This happens due to volcanic activity under glaciers. When magma heats the ice, massive amounts of meltwater form underground rivers that change course depending on the pressure and movement of the ice. As a result, a river can flow in the opposite direction within just a few days, leaving residents and tourists puzzled. Did you know there's a banana you shouldn't eat? In Hawaii, a unique type of banana called the plantain banana grows, which, despite its appetizing appearance, is not meant to be eaten. It tastes very bitter, somewhat like a potato. Locals use it for weaving traditional crafts rather than food. Tourists are often surprised by these bananas, but the locals are quick to warn, don't try eating them. Why do flamingos stand on one leg? Flamingos can stand on one leg for hours, and while it may seem strange, there's a scientific reason. By tucking one leg under their bodies, flamingos conserve energy and retain body heat. This position also reduces muscle fatigue. Scientists even found out that flamingos can sleep standing on one leg without losing balance. Can you imagine being able to stand on one leg for hours? These birds are true masters of balance and relaxation. Is it true that Iceland has no railways? Iceland really has no railways, despite technological advancements in other countries. The main reason is the geographical features of the country, which consists of volcanic rocks and mountainous terrain, making railway construction extremely difficult and expensive. Additionally, due to the small population, roads are a more convenient mode of transport. So, despite all the progress, you won't find trains there. Why does fish rain actually happen? In the city of Yoro, Honduras, an unusual phenomenon occurs every year: rain of fish. This strange natural event happens during the heavy summer storms when hundreds of live fish fall to the ground along with the rain. Locals call it lluvia de peces and believe it to be a divine blessing. However, scientists suggest that strong water spouts form in the atmosphere, lifting fish from nearby bodies of water and depositing them kilometers away. It's one of those phenomena that remind us how surprising and unpredictable nature can be. Can you imagine that it rains diamonds on Neptune? It sounds like science fiction, but scientists are convinced that Neptune experiences diamond rain. Due to the immense pressure and extreme temperatures, methane in Neptune's atmosphere transforms into diamonds that literally fall from the sky. Imagine a world where precious jewels are as common as raindrops, a luxurious storm that any jeweler would dream of witnessing. The Babylonian lottery. Fate decides dinner. Imagine your dinner invitation being decided by a lottery. In ancient Babylon, there was a lottery where fate literally determined who would attend the feast. This method of selecting banquet guests added an element of randomness and unpredictability to social life. Fate played a decisive role in who would be at the dinner table. This ancient custom shows just how much in life can depend on chance, especially when it comes to something as delightful as dinner. Did you know that the USA leads the world in Olympic medals? The United States holds the all-time record for Olympic Games medals. American athletes have earned more than 2,900 medals throughout the history of the Games. It is the only country to have won more than 1,000 gold medals. The USA continues to dominate, winning medals at every Olympics since the start of the Games in 1896. In 2024, at the Paris Games, the USA became the first country to surpass 3,000 total medals. This is a phenomenal achievement. What if I told you there are floating markets in some countries? In Thailand and Vietnam, you can find markets located right on the water. Traders sell fruits, vegetables, and souvenirs from small boats, creating an amazing and colorful scene. These markets are located along canals where people can literally paddle up to the goods they want. This unique tradition attracts tourists from all over the world, allowing them to immerse themselves in the local culture and trading atmosphere. How would you like to visit the world's most isolated island? Tristan da Cunha is the world's most remote inhabited island, located in the southern Atlantic Ocean. It lies about 2,400 kilometers from the nearest mainland. Around 260 people live on the island, most of whom are descendants of British settlers and shipwreck survivors. Tristan da Cunha has no airports, hotels, or restaurants, and the only way to reach it is by boat, on a 6-day journey from South Africa. Did you know that in Iceland, there is a beach that constantly changes shape? On Iceland's southern coast, there is a black sand beach that constantly changes its shape depending on weather conditions and tides. Each year, locals and tourists notice that the beach's outlines shift significantly. New dunes appear in some places, while the sand disappears entirely in others. This phenomenon is caused by strong winds and underwater currents that transport the sand along the coastline. The beach is considered one of Iceland's most mysterious natural sights. Did you know that ancient Egyptians created the first calendar? Ancient Egyptians were among the first to develop a calendar based on the cycles of the sun. They divided the year into 3 seasons, each consisting of 4 months. This calendar was created to accurately predict the flooding of the Nile, which was crucial for their agricultural activities. This calendar is still considered one of the greatest scientific achievements of the ancient world, helping people manage time and natural resources. Who would have thought that you can see sounds through light? Sounds can not only be heard, but also seen. Using special equipment like oscilloscopes, scientists can visualize sound waves, turning them into light pulses. These pulses take on different shapes depending on the frequency and intensity of the sound. The sight is incredible. High frequencies appear as fast, thin lines, while low ones as slow, broad patterns. Technology allows us to see music and sounds, adding a new dimension to how we perceive them. Did you know there are more stars in the universe than grains of sand on Earth? Surprisingly, there are more stars in the universe than all the grains of sand on every beach on Earth. This cosmic fact highlights the unimaginable vastness of our universe. When you look at the night sky, there are billions and billions of stars, each potentially home to planets we know nothing about yet. Our place in the cosmos feels even more humbling when you realize that stars fill the space far beyond what we can even imagine. How do diamonds form from marine animals? In the depths of the ocean, under immense pressure and temperature, carbon from the remains of ancient marine organisms can turn into diamonds. This process takes millions of years, resulting in some of the rarest diamonds prized for their unique origins. Scientists believe that some diamonds mined in Africa may have formed from these ancient sea creatures, giving the stones not only beauty, but also a history spanning millions of years. It's hard to believe, but sea stars can evert their stomachs. Sea stars have a bizarre and fascinating way of eating. They can push their stomachs outside their bodies to digest their prey. When a sea star encounters something too big to fit in its mouth, like a clam or mussel, it wraps its stomach around the prey, releasing digestive enzymes to break down the food. Once the meal is digested, the sea star pulls its stomach back inside, along with the nutrients. This unique method makes them some of the most unconventional predators in the ocean. Talk about dining al fresco. What if I told you that a blink lasts only 3/10 of a second? Blinking is one of the fastest reactions of our body, and each one takes about 3/10 of a second. But despite its speed, blinking serves an important function. It moistens our eyes, protects them from dust, and even gives the brain a moment to rest. Throughout the day, we blink around 20,000 times without even noticing it. So the next time you blink, remember, your body is working like a true biological machine, taking care of you every second. Did you know that bees need to visit 2 million flowers to make 1 kilogram of honey? To produce just 1 kilogram of honey, bees must visit around 2 million flowers. This labor-intensive process involves collecting nectar from a wide variety of plants, and through the hard work of the hive, the sweet nectar of nature is created. Every drop of honey represents the collective effort of thousands of bees and the biodiversity of the plants they visit. Honey is more than just a sweet treat. It's a testament to the wonders of the natural world. Can you guess which insect is the heaviest in the world? The giant weta, native to New Zealand, holds the title for the heaviest insect in the world. This massive bug can weigh up to 70 grams, more than a sparrow. Wetas can grow up to 10 centimeters long and are truly giant compared to typical crickets. This insect is the heavyweight champion of its species and continues to amaze even the most experienced entomologists with its colossal size. Did you know that cats can make over 100 different sounds? Cats are true vocal virtuosos. They can meow, purr, hiss, growl, and produce countless other sounds, each carrying a specific meaning. Unlike dogs, who mostly bark, cats use a whole range of sounds to communicate with humans and each other. This rich vocal repertoire helps them express their emotions, moods, and desires. If you have a furry friend at home, rest assured they'll find a way to talk to you about their plans. Horsepower. More than just a name. Did you know that a horse can produce a lot more than just 1 horsepower? The term was coined by Scottish engineer James Watt to compare the power of steam engines to the strength of a horse. It turns out that a single horse can actually generate a maximum output of up to 18,000 watts, which is roughly equivalent to 24 horsepower. This number depends on factors like the horse's size, breed, and physical condition. While we often use this unit to measure cars and machinery, its origins tie us back to the era of steam engines and the Industrial Revolution. Why hasn't Ireland's population recovered 160 years after the famine? Imagine a country unable to fully recover its population for more than a century and a half. That's precisely what happened to Ireland after the Great Potato Famine of the mid-19th century. The famine, caused by crop failures, led to the deaths of hundreds of thousands and the mass emigration of millions of Irish people around the world. Even today, 160 years later, Ireland's population is still 2 million less than it was before this tragedy. This incredible demographic puzzle remains a testament to the devastating impact of those events. Why is Venus hotter than Mercury, even though it's farther from the Sun? Despite Mercury being the closest planet to the Sun, Venus holds the title of the hottest planet in our solar system. Its surface temperature reaches 460 degrees Celsius, or about 860 degrees Fahrenheit. This is all due to its dense atmosphere, mostly made up of carbon dioxide, which creates a powerful greenhouse effect, trapping heat. Venus's atmosphere acts like a giant blanket, making it resemble an inferno, even though it's farther from the Sun. Why can toads live far from water? Ever wondered what makes toads different from frogs? One of the key differences is their habitat. Frogs need to stay near water because their skin requires moisture to breathe. Toads, however, have thicker skin that allows them to retain moisture and live away from water. So if you spot an amphibian in your backyard, it's more likely to be a toad than a frog. These adaptations help toads survive in drier places, making them true masters of land survival. It's amazing, but the platypus is one of the strangest creatures on Earth. This incredible Australian animal, which looks like a mix of different creatures, has baffled scientists for centuries. The platypus lays eggs, produces milk for its young, and has venomous spurs on its hind legs. This combination of traits makes it one of the most unique mammals on the planet. Despite its odd characteristics, the platypus has lived on Earth for millions of years and remains a symbol of nature's mysteries and evolution. Is the 10,000 steps a day just a myth? We often hear that walking 10,000 steps a day is essential for good health. But did you know that this number isn't scientifically backed? The figure originated in the 1960s as part of a marketing campaign for a Japanese pedometer whose name translates as 10,000 steps. It was simply a catchy slogan that stuck in the culture, but in reality, there is no specific scientific data that confirms that exactly 10,000 steps is the magic number. The number of steps needed to stay healthy can vary from person to person. Did you know that the resolution of the human eye surpasses any camera? Our eyes can distinguish up to 10 million shades of color with such incredible clarity that no modern camera can compare. Imagine this. The human eye has a resolution of 576 megapixels. This is far beyond even the best photographic technologies available today. We all love high-resolution screens, but we often forget that our own eyes already provide us with the perfect visual experience. And the best part, it's completely free. How about this? There are road maps for astronauts on the moon. During the Apollo missions, special markings were made on the moon's surface to help astronauts navigate. These markers included lines and even arrows pointing in specific directions. In an environment where horizontal landmarks are not obvious and visibility is limited, these markers were crucial. Although the moon seems empty, these hidden details help future missions avoid getting lost and allow better exploration of Earth's satellite. The chewing gum pack that changed retail forever. Imagine that the first product ever sold with a barcode was a pack of Wrigley's chewing gum. This historic event took place on June 26, 1974, in a supermarket in Ohio. This moment marked the beginning of a new era in retail, where barcodes became standard for simplifying shopping and inventory tracking. Barcodes quickly became a global standard and are still used in every store today. So the next time you buy something with a barcode, remember that it all started with a simple pack of chewing gum. The surprising trend in Japan, pets preferred over children. Imagine this. In Japan, there are now more pets than children. This surprising fact highlights modern social trends. More and more Japanese people are choosing to have pets instead of children. Statistics show that the number of pets in Japan exceeds the number of children under the age of 15. This is due to many factors, such as the high costs of raising children, career ambitions, and limited housing space. Pets require less time and resources, but still bring joy and a sense of care. This trend reflects global changes in the perception of family life and values in different countries around the world. Sleeping with one eye open, how dolphins and birds stay vigilant. Some animals, like dolphins and many birds, have the incredible ability to sleep with one eye open. This phenomenon is called unihemispheric sleep, where one half of the brain sleeps while the other stays awake to monitor the environment. This helps animals stay alert and avoid dangers like predators. For example, dolphins can sleep while staying on the water's surface and continue to breathe. Birds can rest in mid-flight or perched on a branch while remaining vigilant. This remarkable adaptation is an example of how nature has developed incredible survival mechanisms in the most challenging conditions. What does a sunset on Mars look like? You'll be amazed. Imagine watching a sunset on Mars, where the sky doesn't turn red like it does on Earth, but blue. This unique phenomenon happens because of how the thin Martian atmosphere scatters sunlight. Unlike Earth's thick atmosphere that gives us those fiery reds and oranges, the Martian atmosphere bends light in a way that turns the sky into a stunning shade of blue. It's a cosmic anomaly that makes Mars feel like its own special planet. The next time you watch a sunset here on Earth, think about how it must be on Mars. Did you know your keyboard is dirtier than a toilet seat? It sounds awful, but your keyboard can be a real breeding ground for germs. Studies have shown that keyboards often contain more bacteria than toilet seats. Dust, food crumbs and microbes accumulate on the keys over time. That's why regularly cleaning your keyboard isn't just a good habit, it's an important hygiene measure. A keyboard cleaner and wet wipes are your best friends in the battle against germs. The royal game of is the oldest board game, over 4,000 years old. This ancient game was discovered during excavations in Mesopotamia and dates back to around 2600 BCE. Played by two players on a 20-square board, the game involved strategic moves with pieces that maneuvered around obstacles. It had a major influence on the development of future board games, demonstrating the strategic thinking of ancient civilizations. Just imagine how deep-rooted our love for games really is. Hard to believe, but Iceland has an official elf translator. Icelanders believe in elves so much that they even invite a special translator to communicate with them. Road and building contractors are required to consult with this translator to avoid disturbing elf dwellings. It's believed that elves live in rocks and hills, so if construction is needed, they check first to see if it's an elf home. This way, Iceland builds with possible neighbors in mind. Clouds are heavier than you think. Ever wonder how much clouds weigh, even though they float so gracefully across the sky? Well, a typical cumulus cloud weighs about 500,000 kilograms. That's as much as 100 elephants. They might look light and fluffy, but they're carrying a huge amount of water. The next time you see clouds overhead, just remember the massive weight floating above you. The pistol shrimp, master of the sonic boom. The pistol shrimp, just 2 centimeters long, holds the title of the loudest creature on the planet. It creates a sonic boom louder than a Concorde jet by snapping its claw shut so quickly that it forms a cavitation bubble. This bubble then collapses, creating an incredibly loud sound, strong enough to stun small prey. This unique ability helps the pistol shrimp hunt and defend itself against predators. Who would have thought that such a tiny creature could produce such a powerful noise? How about this? The discovery of DNA changed science forever. In 1953, scientists James Watson and Francis Crick made a revolutionary discovery when they presented the structure of DNA. This monumental achievement revealed the double helix structure of DNA, the very building block of life. Their discovery unlocked the secrets of heredity and laid the foundation for countless advances in genetics and medicine. It forever changed our understanding of life itself, paving the way for genetic therapies and innovations we use today. Can you believe it? Cows have best friends. Cows, beyond being valuable farm animals, are incredibly social creatures with rich emotional lives. They can form strong friendships with other cows, and if separated from their best friends, they can become stressed. Cows often spend time together, graze in pairs, and express their emotions through unique vocalizations. Their social bonds highlight that cows are not just animals providing milk, but they have their own emotional worlds that deserve recognition. Why is there a village in Norway where it's Christmas every day? In the Norwegian village of Drøbak, a festive Christmas spirit lasts all year long. There's a Santa Claus museum, a postal service for sending holiday letters, and shops full of Christmas decorations. Even in summer, you can feel like it's winter, and the locals happily maintain this festive atmosphere. Tourists come here to experience a holiday wonderland, leaving with smiles and holiday cheer. Did you know the pyramids of Giza were originally brightly colored? When we think of the Egyptian pyramids, we imagine grand but plain stone structures. However, in ancient times, They looked completely different. The pyramids were once covered in smooth white limestone, which made them shine in the sunlight, giving them a dazzling appearance. Additionally, the top of the pyramids, called pyramidions, were often made of gold or coated with gold, creating a sparkling peak. Imagine how bright and magnificent these structures must have looked in the desert several thousand years ago. Over time, the outer layers of the pyramids deteriorated, leaving only the stone cores we see today. Why do people love talking about themselves? Studies show that people spend about 60% of their conversation time talking about themselves, and on social media, this number goes up to 80%. This is because people enjoy sharing their thoughts, experiences, and personal stories. Especially in the age of social media, these platforms have become spaces for self-expression and connection. This fact provides an intriguing insight into human nature, the desire for communication and recognition. Why can't ostriches walk backward? Despite their powerful legs, ostriches have one surprising limitation: they can't walk backward. Their joints and muscles are structured in a way that prevents them from moving in reverse. But these birds can reach speeds of up to 70 kilometers per hour, making them excellent runners capable of escaping danger in record time. Why did ancient Romans wear togas? The toga was a symbol of Roman civic authority and status. Only free men could wear it, and putting it on incorrectly was considered shameful. But it wasn't just about fashion. The toga was highly impractical and required constant adjusting, signifying that its wearer was above manual labor. Plus, it was so hot and uncomfortable that Romans only wore it on special occasions. Who would have thought ancient fashion could be so complicated and impractical? Did you know the term internet was first used in 1974? We all know the internet is an essential part of modern life, but did you know the first mention of the word was in 1974? At that time, internet was used to describe a global network of interconnected computer systems. Back then, it was a novelty, but by the end of the 20th century, the internet became a revolutionary technology that changed the world. Today, billions of people are connected online, and the internet has become not just a communication tool, but also a key platform for business, science, and education. Is it possible? There is a lake in Tanzania where no one swims. Lake Natron, located near the border with Kenya, is known for its extremely high salinity and alkalinity, which turns any animal that ends up in its waters into a mummy. Birds and fish caught in the lake literally turn to stone due to chemical reactions. Although it looks eerie, the lake's stunning red color draws tourists and photographers. Despite its beauty, locals and travelers never dare to venture into its dangerous waters. Oxford University is older than the Aztec Empire. This famous university was founded in the 12th century, long before the Aztecs began building their great empire in the 14th century. Oxford University has witnessed the rise and fall of entire civilizations and has survived through dozens of historical eras. This academic giant, with its centuries-long history, continues to be a beacon of knowledge and culture, attracting students from all over the world. Imagine, when European cities were just beginning to develop, Oxford was already a center of learning, surviving wars, changing borders and revolutions. Camels, the giants of the desert. Despite popular belief, camels didn't always live in deserts. They originally descended from ancient animals that roamed the forests of North America around 30 million years ago. Over time, they migrated to Africa and Asia, where their humps became an adaptation for surviving in hot climates. These humps, filled with fat, allow camels to go without water for up to 2 weeks. They can drink up to 50 liters of water at once, making them masters of survival in environments where other creatures would perish. Camels remain a vital part of life for many desert communities. Did you know that ants never sleep? Ants are the real workaholics of the insect world. These amazing tiny creatures seem like they are non-stop working machines, constantly on the go without ever pausing to rest. But the truth is, ants don't sleep the way we do. Instead, they take short breaks throughout the day to recharge their energy. Their remarkable strength and impressive teamwork make them one of the most successful and efficient species on Earth. It's truly mind-blowing when you realize just how resilient they are. Did you know banana plants can walk? Banana plants may seem immobile, but in reality, they can move. Of course, it's not the kind of walk we're used to, but banana plants do actually shift. Over their lifetime, they can move up to 40 centimeters, stretching their roots toward the sun. This movement is so slow that you can't see it with the naked eye. But if you could speed up time, you'd see the banana plant walking toward a sunnier spot to soak up more light. True sun lovers. Organic food. Truth or myth about its benefits? Research shows that there is no significant difference between organic and conventional foods in terms of nutritional value. While many believe that organic products are healthier and taste better, science doesn't support major distinctions. Some studies have also found no notable differences in taste. However, people often choose organic foods for lower pesticide levels and more eco-friendly farming practices. When choosing between organic and conventional, it's up to each person to decide what matters most, taste or caring for the planet. Can you believe a sloth can hold its breath for 40 minutes? Sloths, despite their slow movements, possess an extraordinary ability to hold their breath for up to 40 minutes. This physiological adaptation helps them survive in the treetops and protect themselves from predators, even allowing them to stay underwater for extended periods when crossing rivers. This unique skill, developed for life in the rainforest canopy, shows how evolution has crafted these creatures to perfectly match their environment. Sloths may be slow, but their adaptations are anything but ordinary. Did you know Bank of America was originally called the Bank of Italy? One of the largest banks in the United States, Bank of America, was originally founded in 1904 in San Francisco as the Bank of Italy. Its founder, Amedeo Giannini, created the bank to serve immigrants and the working class. Over time, the bank expanded and eventually became the financial giant known today as Bank of America. This journey from a small bank for Italian immigrants to an international financial powerhouse is truly a story of success. Did you know glass actually flows? Contrary to popular belief, glass is not entirely solid. Over time, glass slowly flows, though this process can take hundreds or thousands of years. In old buildings, you might notice that glass windows have become slightly thicker at the bottom. This happens because the molecules of glass gradually shift downward under the force of gravity, making it behave more like a very slow-moving liquid on a molecular level. Vatican City, the smallest country in the world. Vatican City is an independent city-state located within Rome, Italy, and it covers an area of just about 0.49 square kilometers, making it the smallest country in the world. Despite its modest size, the Vatican is a significant center of the Catholic Church and home to many renowned historical sites, like St. Peter's Basilica and the Sistine Chapel. Its population is around 800 people, making it not only the smallest by area, but also one of the least populated states in the world. Why are towers in the desert built so tall? In the UAE and other desert regions, modern skyscrapers are not just built high for beauty, but to minimize the impact of heat. At great heights, temperatures are cooler, which helps save on cooling costs. Additionally, tall buildings provide maximum shade to surrounding areas. This unique design solution allows desert cities to counteract extreme climates, creating an oasis of coolness right in the middle of the desert. Why a day on Venus is longer than its year. Did you know that one day on Venus is longer than an entire Venusian year? Venus rotates around its axis so slowly that it takes about 243 Earth days to complete one rotation. But its year, its orbit around the Sun, lasts only around 225 days. Imagine standing on Venus, watching the Sun rise and set over the course of several months. By the time a Venusian evening arrives, 2 Earth years have passed. This makes Venus one of the most paradoxical planets in our solar system. Did you know that crocodiles can digest metal objects? A crocodile's stomach is a powerhouse of digestion. It produces one of the strongest acids in the animal kingdom, capable of breaking down bones and even metal. This trait is especially handy when crocodiles swallow stones to regulate their weight or accidentally ingest metal objects like fishing hooks or nails. This incredible digestive power ensures that they can thrive in the wild by consuming almost anything that comes their way. So, if a crocodile accidentally swallows something metal, it has no problem making a meal out of it. Believe it or not, the world's smallest snake is less than 10 centimeters long. The Barbados thread snake is a true marvel of nature. This snake holds the title of the world's smallest, living on the beautiful Caribbean island of Barbados. It grows to just under 10 centimeters in length and weighs about 0.6 of a gram, which is around 0.02 of an ounce. This tiny snake feeds on termites and ant larvae, and its eggs are sometimes larger than the snake itself. With its blunt head and toothless mouth, this miniature serpent shows just how diverse and fascinating the animal kingdom is. Why does Japan have an island inhabited only by rabbits? On Okunoshima, known as Rabbit Island, hundreds of fluffy bunnies roam freely, feeling like the rightful rulers of the place. Originally, rabbits were brought here for scientific experiments during World War II. After the war ended, they were released, and their population grew rapidly. Now, tourists from all over the world come to play and feed these friendly animals. Cats and dogs are prohibited on the island to protect the rabbit population, turning it into a true paradise for animal lovers. Can you believe that Canada has more lakes than the rest of the world combined? Yes, it's true. Canada alone has more lakes than all other countries in the world combined. About 60% of all freshwater lakes on the planet are located in this country. From small, crystal-clear ponds to giant lakes like Lake Superior, Canada is famous for its water resources. The variety of lakes makes Canada an ideal destination for nature lovers, water sports enthusiasts, and fishermen. Impressive, isn't it? If you're planning a trip, don't forget to include a visit to one of these unique natural wonders. Believe it or not, your brain generates about 70,000 thoughts a day. Imagine your brain as a factory of ideas working non-stop. Every day it generates around 70,000 thoughts. That means a new idea, memory, or decision is born in your head every few seconds. This incredible ability allows us to multitask and quickly adapt, processing thousands of decisions automatically. So the next time you feel overwhelmed by thoughts, remember, your brain's powerful thinking factory is in full operation. Why a cat's brain is 90% like a human's? Surprisingly, despite their size, a cat's brain is 90% similar to a human's. While cats don't solve equations or read books, the structure of their brain, especially the cerebral cortex, is remarkably like ours. Cats can experience emotions such as joy, fear, and even jealousy, making them far more complex than they might seem. Their ability to learn and remember is impressive. They can associate specific actions with rewards, similar to how children learn. So, perhaps your little kitty is much smarter than you think. It just chooses not to show it. Believe it or not, birds can talk. Many species of parrots can mimic human speech, but not because they understand words. They memorize the sounds and rhythms they hear and repeat them with surprising accuracy. Moreover, some parrots can remember and reproduce dozens of phrases and even sing tunes. This ability has made them popular as pets, as they can mimic entire sentences from their owners, adding funny and sometimes unexpected elements to conversations. Why are honey mushrooms considered the largest living organisms on the planet? In the forests of Oregon, there is one of the largest organisms on Earth, the honey fungus Armillaria ostoya. This fungus covers an area of over 9 square kilometers and has been growing for thousands of years. Underground, it forms giant mycelial networks that connect trees and other plants. Above ground, it may look like just a few mushrooms, but beneath the surface lies an enormous network rivaling the size of large cities. Did you know that the whale shark is the largest fish in the world? Whale sharks can grow up to 12 meters long, making them the largest fish on the planet. Despite their immense size, these gentle giants feed mainly on plankton and tiny organisms. They filter massive amounts of water daily through their enormous mouths. Don't worry though, whale sharks are completely harmless to humans and can even be quite friendly if you ever encounter them in the ocean. Imagine for a moment. The Sahara Desert is the largest desert on Earth. The Sahara Desert is not just a desert, it's a giant oven. Covering over 9 million square kilometers, it is the largest hot desert in the world. It spans much of North Africa, covering an area roughly the size of China or the United States. Temperatures in the Sahara can soar up to 58 degrees Celsius, about 136 degrees Fahrenheit, making it one of the hottest places on Earth. Why does Turkey build palaces for stray cats? In the streets of Istanbul, you can find miniature houses that look like palaces, built especially for stray cats. The locals consider cats sacred animals and care for them with great love. Some of these houses even feature carvings and balconies, with food and water bowls nearby. These cat palaces have become symbols of Turkey's respect for animals, and tourists often admire these little masterpieces around the city. Millionaire without a million. How to get rich from scratch. Who would have thought that in today's world you can become a millionaire without a single penny? The term millionaire has long been synonymous with wealth and success. But did you know that there's a phenomenon called a nillionaire, from the word nil, zero? This term describes people who, in reality, don't have a million or any significant capital, but live a lifestyle that suggests high status. This can be connected to borrowed funds, loans, or the creation of an impression of wealth, though there's no real capital behind it. In an age where social media can turn anyone into a star, this phenomenon is becoming increasingly relevant. Who would have thought that you can appear rich without having real wealth? Did you know that the Tower of London was once bright white? In the Middle Ages, the Tower of London wasn't grey as it is today, but instead, it was covered with a white plaster, earning it the nickname White Tower. At that time, white plaster symbolized strength and purity. Every few years, the tower was repainted to maintain its bright appearance. Over time, the coating wore away and the tower became grey due to dirt and pollution. But once, it really was a gleaming white pearl on the London skyline. Did you know that butterflies taste food with their feet? Butterflies don't use their mouths to taste their food. Instead, they have taste receptors on their feet that allow them to determine if a plant is suitable for laying eggs or feeding. When a butterfly lands on a flower or leaf, it tastes it with its feet, and if it finds the taste favorable, it will start sipping nectar. Imagine if we could taste our meals just by stepping on them. This unique sense helps butterflies find the best places to eat and lay their eggs, ensuring the survival of their species. Can it be true? Saudi Arabia imports camels from Australia? Yes, it's no mistake. Camels, once brought to Australia from the Middle East for farming and transportation, are now being exported back to Saudi Arabia. Camels have thrived in Australia's environment, and their population has grown significantly. Now they are exported back to the Middle East, where they are used for similar purposes. Surprisingly, Australia is now a global leader in camel exports. Who would have thought that these desert animals would complete such a unique historical cycle? Who would have thought that clouds can weigh millions of tons? Despite their light and airy appearance, clouds actually have massive weight. 1 cubic meter of cloud contains about half a gram of water. Considering that a typical cumulus cloud can have a volume of over 1 billion cubic meters, its mass can reach 500,000 tons. That's about the same as 400,000 cars. Imagine tons of water floating above you. The accident that changed the world, the invention of the popsicle. Have you ever wondered how the popsicle was invented? It was pure accident. In 1905, an 11-year-old boy named Frank Epperson left a mixture of soda water and a stick outside overnight. The next morning, the mixture had frozen, and thus the first popsicle on a stick was accidentally invented. Years later, when Frank grew up, he began selling his frozen treat, which quickly became a hit. His children suggested naming it a popsicle, and the name stuck. That's how a simple mistake became a beloved dessert for millions around the world. The shortest war lasted only 38 minutes. In 1896, a war broke out between Britain and the Sultanate of Zanzibar, which became the shortest in history. The conflict began when the Sultan of Zanzibar refused to comply with British demands. Britain sent warships into the harbour, and within 38 minutes of intense bombardment, the Sultan surrendered. During that time, the British ships destroyed the Sultan's palace and his fleet before installing a new ruler who supported British interests. This record for the fastest war conclusion has never been broken. It turns out that in some countries you can wash banknotes. In countries like Australia and Canada, banknotes are printed on a special polymer material, not paper, making them durable and waterproof. These plastic bills are not only harder to tear, but you can accidentally wash them in your pants pocket and they'll remain intact. This innovation has reduced the cost of producing banknotes and made them more long-lasting. The future of money is money that isn't afraid of water. Do you suffer from kenophobia, fear of empty spaces? Kenophobia is a rare and unusual fear of empty spaces. People who have this fear feel uncomfortable in overly open places where there is no furniture or objects, creating a sense of fullness. Imagine playing hide-and-seek with someone who has kenophobia. The thought of finding a place to hide in a large, empty room could become a real nightmare. This phobia highlights just how different our perceptions of the world around us can be. Did you know the world's oldest recipe is for beer? The oldest known beer recipe dates back to around 4,000 years before our era in ancient Sumeria. This ancient beer shows how long the tradition of brewing has been preserved. Sumerians brewed beer from barley, and this process was a key part of their culture for millennia. Who would have thought that the tradition of beer is so ancient and still thriving today? Did you know that Big Ben is not a clock? Actually, Big Ben is not the name of the clock or the tower, but the bell inside the clock tower. Its full name is the Great Bell of Westminster, but people simply call it Big Ben. It chimes every hour, creating a melody heard by Londoners and visitors alike. It's one of the most recognizable landmarks in the world, and now you know the real story behind the name. Why does Sweden have one of the strangest museums in the world? In Stockholm, there is the Museum of Failure, where you can find exhibits of failed inventions, products and services that did not meet expectations. For example, you can see Coca-Cola with a coffee flavor, strange household gadgets, and even video games that flopped. The creators of the museum believe that we learn from mistakes and that failure is an essential part of any discovery. Visitors often marvel at how bizarre some ideas can be and how far people go in their pursuit of innovation. This museum has become a place where you can laugh at the past and rethink what success means. Did you know there are more trees on Earth than stars in the Milky Way? Imagine this. There are about 3 trillion trees on Earth, while the Milky Way contains an estimated 100 to 400 billion stars. This means there are more trees on our planet than stars in our galaxy. This surprising fact highlights the abundance of life on Earth. Every time you walk through a forest or see a tree in your yard, remember how vital these giants are for sustaining life, providing oxygen, and regulating the climate. Every cat has a unique nose print. Just like humans have unique fingerprints, cats have their own special patterns on their noses. Each cat's nose has a distinct print that can be used to identify them, much like how fingerprints work for people. This trait makes every cat's nose completely unique and adds a bit of personality to their charm. So, if you have a furry, purring friend at home, know that their nose is as unique as their character. This amazing fact highlights how diverse and mysterious the feline world is, where even the smallest details matter. Pteronophobia, an unusual fear you might not know about. Did you know that the fear of being tickled by feathers has its own name? It's called pteronophobia, and it's characterized by an irrational fear of being tickled by feathers or even by feathers themselves. While this phobia is rare, it can cause significant stress and anxiety for those who suffer from it. This unusual fear is yet another example of how unique human fears can be and how they can impact daily life. Photography, the art of stopping time. The ability to capture a moment on paper may seem like magic, but today it's a part of our everyday lives. The history of photography is filled with fascinating facts. The first attempts to freeze an image were made in the early 1800s by Thomas Wedgwood, but without success. Modern photography, as we know it today, became possible thanks to the experiments of pioneers like Joseph Nicephore Niepce and William Henry Fox Talbot. Their innovations forever changed the way we preserve and share memories. It's interesting that Tokyo has no street addresses. In Tokyo, addresses are assigned not to streets but to buildings, which is very unusual for a large city. Buildings are numbered in order of construction, not by their location on a street. This means finding the right address for the first time can be challenging if you're not familiar with the area. Instead of streets, residents and visitors orient themselves by metro stations and districts, giving Tokyo a unique charm and character. Did you know that olive oil can help fight cancer? Extra virgin olive oil contains an incredible compound called oleocanthal, which has the remarkable ability to destroy cancer cells without harming healthy ones. This natural wonder shows how food can act as medicine, offering a gentle yet powerful defense against cancer. Oleocanthal targets cancer cells at a molecular level, making olive oil a potential ally in the fight against various cancers. So next time you enjoy olive oil, remember that it's not just a tasty ingredient, but also a natural healer. Can you believe that a tick can dine for up to 10 days? Ticks are true masters of long feasts. These tiny parasites can stay latched onto their host for up to 10 days, feeding without interruption. Imagine a dinner that lasts not just a few hours, but almost an entire week. The tick literally buries itself into the feast, slowly but surely enjoying its meal. While the host may not even realize that someone is indulging in their blood, the tick is having the time of its life. These little gourmets are so adapted to slow eating that they can store nutrients and feed on them for a long time. Though it sounds unpleasant to us, for ticks, it's a gourmet experience. If there were a competition for slow eating, ticks would surely be the champions. Why do chickens peck at their food? When a chicken finds food and pecks it on the ground, it's not just a random habit. This process is called beak pounding and helps chickens break down food into smaller, easier-to-manage pieces. A chicken's powerful beak acts like a tool to crack seeds and other tough bits of food. This behavior is common among many birds, but chickens do it with particular zeal, allowing them to get more nutrients and energy from their meals. Next time you see a chicken pecking, remember, it's using its own little kitchen tools. Have you ever wondered that there are underground oceans? Beneath the Earth's surface, there are massive water reservoirs which could be called underground oceans. The volume of water in these reservoirs exceeds that of all the oceans, lakes and rivers on the surface. These hidden waters are located hundreds of kilometers deep underground, and scientists are just beginning to understand their role in the planet's geological processes.